Hi, this is Kim Campbell from Hupdate, and I'm here with Holly Treddenick, the Artistic Director of Femmes du Feu in Toronto. Hi, Holly.
Hi, Kim.
Thanks for talking to us today. The first question I want to ask you is if you could tell me a little bit about your background with circus. How did you get interested in it?
Well, I started in dance. I've been a contemporary dancer my whole life. So started when I was 3, and I've always had an interest in circus. I saw the circus a lot when I was a kid. My parents would always take me, and I followed Cirque du Soleil and was always interested. But I actually didn't start till I was in my 20s. I was introduced to circus through fire performing, and I was touring actually through the States doing some children's theater, and a friend of mine had just got back from Germany where she had picked up some fire performing there, and so we were on tour, and whenever we had little breaks, she would teach me some little things here and there, and because we were already performing, and I already kind of had a bit of a career as a professional dancer at that point, I started integrating fire performance with my friends and my peers and my co-creators at the time, and it sort of built from there. We started doing fire performing and integrating like the fire with the dance, and then we started getting some work and getting more involved in sort of the smaller local circus community, and then started the company Femmes du Feu, hence the Women of Fire.
Yeah, I was just
name.
going to say, I think I understand the name better now.
Yeah, so that's where we came from. We were a group of like dancing fire
That's cool.
playing ladies.
What was your preferred fire apparatus?
Fire Fingers was always my favorite, and it still is my favorite. And I think it's because it's kind of the most free for me to dance with.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of most an extension of my body.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
And did you formally
And
train
then-
circus?
Pardon?
Have you formally trained circus?
I didn't do a professional program, a training program. I did do a 3-year professional training program in dance. So that was sort of my formal movement training.
Mm-hmm.
But then in circus, I've trained just with private coaches. I've gone to festivals, and I've taken a lot of classes kind of here and there in the city and across Canada.
Oh, wow. Okay. And
Yeah.
so I wanted to ask you a little bit before we get into, we're going to talk about Femme de Feu more, but I wanted to ask you, you kind of have this apparatus that you really love now called the aerial ladder. Can you
I
talk
do.
to us a little bit about that and tell me about the structure and how it's used?
Yeah. The aerial ladder that we have, it's 10 feet long. It's steel. It's heavy. It's nicknamed the Beast. And I've been experimenting with hanging it in all different styles of configurations. So at first we hung it just horizontally, and it was a quartet. So it was created first for 4 people. And since then, I've done different pieces on it. So horizontally, I've used it straight vertically. I've done it swinging and spinning vertically. I've hung it from the side, so almost like a, excuse me, like a teeter-totter.
Oh, yeah.
And just this week, actually, we've started experimenting with it, flipping.
Oh, wow.
So we have it like side pick. It's hanging horizontal, and it's side picked, and now it's like
Whoa.
spinning. yeah, it's been fun.
That is
So
fun. What kind of
sort
mats do you have under that when you train?
We have crash mats and crash pads, and actually when we started, like actually all week, we've been working with ropes on either side, so as it spins, we can control it from either side and spot
cool.
it. So that has been really like necessary.
Yeah, that sounds like a really fun apparatus. I'd love to see more. I'd love to see some footage of that.
Yes.
Maybe you have some you can share with
Absolutely.
us.
Yeah.
What is Femme de Feu and what is it? What is it? Explain your company to me.
What is Femmes du Feu? Well, Femmes du Feu is a contemporary aerial and dance performance company.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm the main artistic director, but I have several collaborators that I've been working with on and off for about 13 years since the company started.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much all of the performers that I work with come from a dance background. So it's very dance and sort of movement innovation driven. And I have like 3 sections under Femmes du Feu. There's the creation section, there's community development, and then education.
Okay.
So under creation, I have kind of 2 projects on the go right now that I'm working on. One is with the ladder,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm working towards a bigger full-length piece with the ladder. And then I'm working on a baby circus show that has a whole birds in a tree kind of apparatus. And so those are the creation projects happening right now. Under community development, I have Project Circus Sessions, and then I also have Airtime. And Circus Sessions is the biggest project that I have going right now. It's in collaboration with a big theater in Toronto called the Harbourfront Centre Theatre. And with that one, we bring in 12 artists from across Canada and the States and abroad, and a mentor, an internationally sort of more senior recognized mentor to come. And it's a research, laboratory, play, collaboration, improvisation.
So cool.
Yeah. And so the artists kind of play for a week, and they're directed with this mentor, circus artists from all disciplines.
I think I was explaining Circus Sessions.
Okay. Yeah.
So Circus Sessions, I think I had more or less described it. So just the end of it is that there is a 2-night showing for the public. So
Cool.
that's kind of the fun part of that.
And what drew you to like make this happen? How did you get interested in doing this Circus Sessions?
It started the first time I went to Montreal Complètement Cirque, which was about 5 years ago, I guess. I went and I was just like so impressed with how tight-knit the community was and how strong the community was. And I thought it was so interesting that they had this festival and there was all these different sort of networking and professional development opportunities connected with the festival. And so I came back. I had started a little bit having discussions with Harbourfront Centre because they're a pretty big organization in theater space. So before I started this relationship with them, talking about potential of showing some work there. But then I went to Montreal and was like, whoa, we have to do something. And so I went to the woman I was working with, Lynanne Sparrow at Harbourfront Centre, and said, like, can we do anything? We need to like grow the community here. And so we just started jamming out some ideas. And it originally started out as it was going to be a symposium. Mm-hmm. So smaller workshops, bringing in many different artists, shows, performances, and workshops. Applied for funding, didn't get it, and then distilled it into this other idea that I think has been much more clear in that it's a week-long laboratory. Mm-hmm. So it started originally kind of inspired, I guess, by my experience in Montreal. But also it feels like it's a natural development to the work that I've been doing for a long time. I've been running like cabarets in the city or small showcases for like almost 20 years. Mm-hmm. So it's a long time. And I think that, so before Circus Sessions, I had started a program called Airtime, okay. Which I still run. And it's like a showcase and a platform for, I focus on professional, but also for emerging artists to showcase some new or experimental work. So it's like works in progress, very open, very warm environment, and really trying to create like a platform and to encourage artists to research like in their practice and come up with something like different and to be able to show it to an audience and peers.
How often is that?
I do 4 to 5 a year.
Okay. Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah. Because there's not really an opportunity for that in circus in Toronto, and actually, like, I think it's just not very common to have a space like that. There's a few opportunities like that in dance, which is like where my roots are. And so I was kind of like, well, this happens in dance. Why doesn't it happen in circus? Like, let's create something. So, and it's been good. It's been going, and there's 5 artists every show. And then after the show, there's a artist audience talkback session that's led by a different facilitator. So I bring in someone who's I try to always bring in somebody who has more, is more professional or senior in the circus community, but sometimes draw from other arts practices also.
Okay.
So to try to create like a big discussion. So it was kind of like all of these things that I've been doing, and went to Montreal and was like culminated in this idea of Circus Sessions.
Okay. And what's the goal of Circus Sessions from the perspective of the artist? Is it to collaborate just on a temporary kind of like pop-up performance, or is it to come up with work that one can take forward, or is it to gain skills working with a mentor?
Letting the artists have, so it's free for artists. They don't have to pay to be there, which is great. And it's a really beautiful facility. Mm-hmm. So it's an opportunity for artists to be able to sink into like a full immersive experience of just creative research. Mm-hmm. So it's skills, like definitely in the past couple circus sessions, people have like exchanged skills, but there's been a lot of like collaborations, and some collaborations that have gone on, mm-hmm. and people have like reconnected after circus sessions, which has been really cool to see that happen. Also, there's a couple people that started little mini pieces when they came into the circus sessions and have gone on to expand on those. But I think it's also just been like a learning experience. People gain insight and perspectives and different tools for creating, and that they've been able to bring into their practice, and bring into their practice for their own creation and for their own teaching, and then helping inspire that to their collaborators and their students.
This sounds great. It sounds very open-ended. Like it could be whatever the artist needs it to be, kind of, at the time.
Yeah.
That's cool. So tell me a little bit about now, Circus Sessions. You're looking for performers now, right? What level of performer are you looking for?
It's geared towards professional. Mm-hmm. So it's geared for professional circus artists who are looking to sort of push their creative boundaries. Mm-hmm. Also some emerging, but really I'm focused on professional opportunities, because I find that with like laboratories or sort of like training festivals, that kind of stuff, it's sort of more emerging, advanced sort of student, where it's not like high level professional, where with Circus Sessions, I'm trying to provide a place where it's like high level professional artists from across all the different disciplines in circus can just like come together and focus.
That makes sense.
And create and research.
That's great. And the mentor this year is Sean Gandini, who is an amazing juggler and company owner himself. And he is such a creative and like awesome, positive person. I think it's going to be a great experience. But I do wonder, how will he mentor performers from non-juggling backgrounds, and how do you expect that to go down?
Well, it's interesting. I actually haven't met him face to face yet, so it's a bit of a leap of faith. But I do hear really amazing things about him. We've had many Skype dates, and I've seen a bunch of the work that he has done. Mm-hmm. So even though, like, I know for him his work is in juggling, I know that he's done like his last production with the ballet and the juggling. Like, I know he works collaboratively with other disciplines. But even last year was a clown, and the year before was aerial. And next year I'm hoping to bring in somebody from sort of the hand balancing acro world. So each year I've been trying to focus on bringing in a mentor from a different family of circus to bring in a different influence. And I think it's more, even though they're coming from the perspective of their main discipline, it's about leading a creative process. So and I think, it's like each discipline approaches, and each person really approaches creation and practice from a different viewpoint, a different stance. So I think if people are open to artists, it's about artist meet artist, and artist work with artist, rather than discipline specific.
Yeah, and he has a lot of experience with creative process, so I think it's going to be an amazing thing.
Yeah, and I've been reading I just started his book that came out,
isn't it?
And really articulate, and he speaks well about dramaturgy and directing.
Yeah. So, will we, the general circus public, get an opportunity to see the work if we're not in Toronto? Do you have any social media platforms where you share what's happening?
Yep. Well, I'll definitely make sort of an edited short version of the performance and post it and share it. But even throughout the week, I've been sharing, like, throughout the week of Circus Sessions, I'll share, like, all different sort of quotes or thoughts or inspirations, images, short videos throughout our Facebook and Twitter, Instagram platforms. But also, I've done the first year, I had somebody come in and their title was Scribe. So they sort of documented the whole week and created like a package that I've had that I've been able to share with people. So if they were interested in like what happened in the week, then I've been able to share this document.
That's cool.
Last year, I brought in 3 directors from different theater to come in and watch for 3 days, just observe and witness, and then they did some writing based on what they saw. And then they spoke on a panel. So they kind of like sat, watched, listened, kind of, and then did some writing on it. So now I have these 3 pieces of writing from their perspective that I've been disseminating and sharing.
That's so interesting. It's like you cross arts, you're crossing all the barriers there, like writing and creativity, and that's cool. So when is the deadline?
When is the deadline?
Yeah.
For application? February 1st.
February 1st. Okay, so
February
there's
1st
a couple weeks left to apply. And what are you looking for in applications?
We're looking for, like your resume, artistic questions, like what are you working on artistically in your, and why you think Circus Sessions would be a good opportunity for you. And that's sort of what we're looking for.
Simple enough. Okay.
Kind of what you're curious about, why this works, and who you are.
Great. So my next question is about the Harbor Kids Circus Festival. How long has that been around, and have you always been involved with it?
This is my second year being involved with it. It's been around, I'd say, about 20 years and has had a few transformations. For 16 years, it was run by Zero Gravity Circus, which is a local circus company that is a bit bigger in the city. And last year there was a transformation in the festival, and it's now being sort of just run by Harbourfront Centre. And I came on as co-curator, which has been really fun. I curated the main stage, and I curate the outdoor programming, and then this kind of collaborative sort of curating the whole rest of the festival. So there's like workshops outside and some music, outdoor roaming, and then there's some indoor programming as well.
Okay, so you have kind of a big role in making that all go. And is that happening like simultaneously with the whole circus festival, or is that a separate event? It's
simultaneous, yeah. So it's over the May long weekend, or in Canada, the May long weekend. So the Circus Sessions is for the week, and then on the Friday, Saturday, we have the showings, and then the Outdoor Harbor Kids Festival is the Saturday, Sunday, and the holiday Monday.
Are they back to back time wise, or is there a bit of a gap between them?
There's a gap, yeah. The Harbor Kids Festival is all outdoors and finishes at 5 p.m. And then the shows for Circus Sessions starts at 8.
But Circus Sessions isn't in May like that same week, is it?
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're crazy.
Yeah, so it's totally overlapping. Yeah, no, it's insane. I was like running from one place to the other last year.
That's intense. Okay.
It was, but it was fun.
Okay. So what type of acts are you seeking for the Harbor Kids Circus Festival?
I'm looking for family friendly. It's outdoor family programming for sure. So needs to be sort of fun and family friendly. It's outdoors, so you know, there can't be anything with like intense lighting requirements because there's just bright sunlight all day. But contemporary circus, I'm really interested in apparatuses that people are doing gel or different approaches to the different families of circus. So like juggling, and I want to represent all the disciplines.
That's cool.
Toronto's very aerial focused in general, so I'm really interested in like juggling, acro, hand balancing kind of stuff.
Oh, cool.
Trying to seek that out.
Well, to ask, I want to flop back over to the topic of your personal project, which is the show you're doing for young children now. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's called Tweet, and it is two of us co-creating it, and it's geared towards kids 0 to 6. Mm-hmm. It's still very much in creation right now. We've done one residency to workshop it, mm-hmm. and in February we're going in to do another residency, so we're excited about that. Okay. And yeah, it's about like birds and nature. Mm-hmm. It's going to be very simple, mm-hmm. But the idea is to sort of like ignite a curiosity in that age group. And we're creating, well, the idea now is our research in February is going to be about checking out this new apparatus, but my idea is to create this freestanding tree that we're going to use as our main apparatus, and then that we can rig off of and do aerial, and then there's going to be some floor dance as well, and we want to do a little bit of interacting with the kids. Mm-hmm. There's a little bit of vocalization that we're going to do. But there's no language in it, so that it can be sort of like language free. Yeah. To remove that barrier. And
such a good idea because there's so
really,
little.
I think it'll be very sweet.
For that age group. Yeah, that's cool. And you were inspired by that to do that by your own little one.
Yeah. So for me, like, it's very important to connect my kids with nature and to bring my kids out into the nature. And I try to like go to the forest every weekend with them. And, living like downtown in a big city is pretty intense. And I think it's just really important, that sort of nature connection. And I started reading this book that talked about a term called nature deficit disorder. Yeah. And I found that very moving. And then I started to go into a bit of a rabbit hole of looking at research that talks about like sort of education and nature, and even the difference of like in schools when a kid can see a tree outside the window versus students who can't see any nature. And it's interesting. And I have a friend who was actually the woman that I originally founded Femmes du Feu with. Mm-hmm. She has kids the same age as me, and she's like she lives even more in the downtown like concrete jungle than I do, in a big she lives in a condo in a tall tower. It's like, very disconnected, but it's been very important for her too to bring this connection with her kids. And then we started talking about this issue, and it kind of developed into let's make a show about it.
That's great. That's a great idea. I agree.
But we want to be able we want to be able to bring it into settings where kids don't have the opportunity to get into nature as much. So we can kind of like, if you don't know what to be curious about, you're sometimes not curious about it. So just to introduce some of the ideas of nature and ideas of like, okay, we're birds and we're being a bird in a tree. And then when they go out, like even if they see a pigeon, they're like, oh, there's a pigeon and that's nature. And oh, look, there is a tree. And
right. Kind of like pointing at, here's something to pay attention to, because you might not get a lot of that, and or you might not realize how it's okay to like notice little things in nature, Yeah,
that's definitely
great. So cool. Well, you certainly have a lot of projects going on, Holly, and I admire you for it. It's been really great interviewing you.
Thanks so much for spending the time, Kim, and asking your great questions.
Oh, no problem. I hope to hear more from you and about your projects soon. Thanks a lot.
Definitely. Thank you, Kim.